We are, let me see, we're live. Hello, this is our fourth attempt. It's really interesting technical difficulties. Anyway, I'm super excited to have an amazing guest on tonight that I really want to introduce you to. She's a real inspiration to me. But before I get my gorgeous guest on, hi Agnes, you give us some likes and some hearts. That'd be amazing because I have a very special guest for you on tonight. But before I invite her onto the call, for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Anna and I am a manifesting mindset coach, and I help entrepreneurial women let go of the limiting beliefs that are holding them back from manifesting the life that they truly desire. So I will see if I can invite my special guest on. Hopefully she will be on in a moment. But I've been watching this lady for a little while now. It says connecting. She's on.
Oh,
Hello.
it's working. Yay.
We've had, there's
Finally.
finally, we've been trying to jump on this call. We've had technical difficulties and we've both learned something, haven't we?
We certainly have. Thanks to your help, Anna. So
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Anna was directing me.
Good. So I want to introduce you to my audience tonight, Suzana, because you're a real inspiration to me and I love watching what you're doing. So for those of you that don't know Suzana, you're based in Melbourne, aren't you?
I
Yeah,
am.
so
Yes, that's right.
Suzanna's based in Melbourne. She's a proud Proctor Gallagher Institute consultant. She's an elite level coach with Bob Proctor. She was recently a guest at the Millionaire Roundtable in Toronto with Bob Proctor himself. She's the author of Your Two Minds and she's the director of Your Two Minds as well. So it's a pleasure to have you on the call, Suzana. Welcome, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Anna. You know that it's my pleasure. You know how much I respect and adore and love the work that you do and who you are as a person. So thank you so much for inviting me tonight. And thank you for your patience too. And I do apologize to your guests, you know, for my technical inabilities.
That was so funny, but we persevered and we were having these technical difficulties, and Suzana was mentioning one of the actual, like, the Bob Proctor teachings about perseverance and persistence, and we did that and we're on. So I'm hoping that everybody that's going to jump on the call tonight, give us some hearts, guys, let us know that you're on. So I'm hoping that they will get a lot of value from listening to you speak tonight.
I hope so, yes.
So tell us a little bit about you. So share with the audience what you're doing at the moment. So tell us, what is a Bob Proctor or Proctor Gallagher Institute consultant? What do you do?
Sure. So I work with Bob Proctor. So I'm one of his elite level coaches. As you mentioned, I was in Bob Proctor's Millionaire Roundtable, which is an exclusive meeting in Toronto. That was in May with a group of about 10 other highly successful coaches. So if you know Bob, most people on this call would know Bob. Most people do know Bob. He is very hard to get on his own. There's 100,000 followers, or, you know, more than that. You know, people around the world that absolutely follow his work, go to his seminars. So to be in a small group of 10, you know, elite coaches doing great work was just an absolute honor and just, you know, an experience that just grows you. So so I'm one of Bob's coaches, a Proctor Gallagher Institute consultant. I'm the director of Your Two Minds and also the author of Your Two Minds. So as a Proctor Gallagher Institute consultant, I deliver some of Bob's programs and work very closely with Bob so that my clients can get the benefits, you know, that Bob teaches. And as you know, everything that Bob teaches applies to the universal laws, so it's absolutely guaranteed to succeed if you, you know, do the work.
Yeah, wonderful. So tell us, share with us. I love to listen to stories about, okay, so you were at a roundtable with Bob Proctor and an elite
few select people. So share with us your journey. Where did you start and how did you get there? What was that? What inspired you to go on this journey, on this path?
Sure, sure. Well, Anna, so that's a really great question because my journey actually started as a kid. So, you know, I always knew my purpose in life, and that was to actually, and it's my gift in life, connecting with people, connecting at the soul level, and understanding their blocks and pushing them forward, or you know, encouraging them to. Years I was. And I thought of this actually after Toronto because I thought, gee, that happened so quickly for me. But when I thought about it, I was actually working on this for 10 years. So I've been in senior management for 18 years of my career before I became a Proctor Gallagher Institute consultant. And on the way to work, I would listen, you know, to Bob like for 10 years on the way to work and on the way home. The radio was switched off, no music, it was just Bob. And I used to drive and imagine, and I knew in my heart that one day I'll be working with him, like not just with him, but working, you know, in partnership with him, to the point where he knows me, where, you know, we're in touch every single day. And I knew deep down that that was going to happen one day, but I just didn't know how. And then in Toronto, you know, I ended up achieving what I needed to actually be in that small group of people. So that was just, and I've known Bob for 2 years, well, actually a bit under 2 years. So I've been a consultant for just over 2 years, and Bob, and then met Bob about 6 months after that. He also wrote the recommendation of my book. So that was a great honour and a great, you know, a massive dream come true. Yeah, so that's my journey with Bob.
That's amazing. So it's just wonderful. I saw those photos of you with Bob in that, on that round table, and it's just a real inspiration. That was wonderful. So share with us, because you've mentioned your two minds. Share with the audience what's your two minds about?
So, okay, so that's an interesting question, and it's a question obviously that I get, you know, quite a lot. And I say it's interesting because I was just inspired by spirit. I've always wanted to write. Even as a child, I knew I was going to be an author. Had 2 attempts before that, just couldn't do it. And then as I did the work that I, you know, teach my clients, it just happened naturally. But I was just inspired when I was in Canada the first time, with just an idea of the concept of your two minds. So the first section, and I just followed my spirit. I was guided by my intuition, and whatever came out of it was the book. So the first section of the book explores the concept of your two minds. And Your Two Minds was the name of my business before it became the title of my book, which was interesting. So it goes into the conscious and subconscious mind. It goes into, you know, the positive and negative mind that we have, so that the chatter, you know, we've got, you know, one side of us that's really, you know, pushing us forward and, you know, wanting us to achieve. And then the other side that's detrimental and you know, cutting us down and you know, telling us, you know, all the negative stuff. There's a, you know, chapter in there about when two minds work together. So even in the Bible, it says when two people in the same spirit are working together and towards the same thing, it's guaranteed to happen. And I've had some experiences that I write about that. The concept of when you're in two minds, some exercises there to help you get through the two minds. And the second part of the book, so this is the turn, is about my grandmother.
Oh.
So, and the reason why I was inspired to write about my grandmother, she was the greatest leader that I've ever met, but she actually practiced all of these things that we now teach as coaches without even an education. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So and is your grandmother here in Australia or is she overseas?
She was in Australia, but yeah, she's no longer with us.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's with me.
Yeah, her spirit,
in my
absolutely.
heart, and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So share with our audience what are the biggest or the top tips that you can share about all your teachings from or your learnings from Bob Proctor and what you teach others as well. So you like maybe your three biggest tips of that information and that work.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Look, that's a really
I
big
know.
question because I've learned so much from Bob in the past, 2 years. And my life, if you knew, I wish you did know
I
me
know.
before, you'd see a complete turnaround. There's a massive, like, turnaround with just, crazy big
Well,
things happening. Um,
share with us some of those turnarounds. I'm sure the audience would love to hear. Like, okay, if I met you
sure.
a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, what are some of
Yeah.
the biggest
Yeah. So
things?
if you met me,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So if you met me 3 years ago, you would have, thought that I was quite successful. I was in senior management, working a full-time job, having a great income. It was comfortable. It was comfortable. However, for years, even as a kid, there was that
Mm.
thing inside me that was niggling away, niggling away, niggling away. And although I could not fault my career, my boss, my CEO, had a great organization I was working for, it was getting to the point, that niggle was getting to the point of, it was screaming. It was screaming. So I just left this career of mine, that, six-figure income, and had two mortgages. And that was the only thing that was stopping me from leaving for years. And I mentioned my childhood. I knew exactly what my purpose was. I knew that I wanted to write. I knew I wanted to become an international writer, an international businesswoman. When I left work, I had nothing planned at all in terms of the next steps. So that was very, very scary because I've worked all of my life. And have known of Bob, like I said, for years and years, and always wanted to do his coaching program. So I thought, oh, maybe this is the time to do the coaching program. And then I found out that I could become a consultant. And as a consultant and doing the work that Bob teaches diligently, had just turned my whole life around. So I became an author. Within a year, I became an author. A few months after my book was released, people were just sending me photos and posting them on Facebook. So we counted over 16 countries that my
That's
book had been,
amazing.
just overnight. I now am an international businesswoman. I have clients all over the world. Um, uh, hanging around at the Millionaire
I know,
Roundtable.
that's
I
just
mean, that says it all.
amazing.
Working very closely. So now, this is just gobsmacking when I think every morning I write to Bob and he writes back, not to a
One
group,
on one.
not to a group
That's
of people,
amazing.
not to other just Bob and I. And I report to him when I've done the Serenity chapter on, James Allen, As a Man Thinketh
Okay.
book. So it's funny. That's what I was quoting when we were going through our little glitch with the IT. So
That was so
I was
good.
thinking, Bob, calmness of
I know,
mind.
that was
Yeah.
amazing. So, can you share with
Yeah.
us then? Okay, well, what did you do? What were the steps that you did from listening to Bob Proctor daily in the car? So, absorbing that information, really letting it resonate with you, and almost kind of you were kind of consumed by it. You started to become that information. But can you share with us that
Yeah.
what did you do? Kind of like if you can share, how
Sure.
many
Yeah.
steps or
Absolutely. So I was a product of the product.
mm,
So I did, as a consultant, we're trained to run and facilitate Bob's Thinking into Results program. So I did that so diligently from, the first step in that program is really defining your goal, really thinking about
yes.
it and putting a date to your goal. And I put on my goal card. So anyone that follows Bob would know that he is very big on carrying your goal card around.
Mm,
And my goal card was, it's 30th of June 2018. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm an international author and businesswoman. And I remember telling my first clients, this is how you write out a goal. Mine's going to come true, but it's not going to come true by that date,
yes.
because it was less than a
Yes.
year. And it's interesting, when I wrote my book and found a publisher, we're talking about dates. And I said, all right, if I submit my manuscript at this date, she said, that's perfect, without knowing that my goal was 30th of June. She said, you know, the next step is editing, blah, 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 book cover design, blah, which means you can launch your book on the 30th of June, 2018 without her even
Isn't that
knowing.
incredible?
Yeah, so I just applied thinking into results in my life. So starting with that goal, thinking into results goes into your subconscious mind. So I had those blocks, you know, for 40 odd years, I had blocks in my mind that would not allow me to write this book that I've always wanted to write, to leave my work, to be an international leader and businesswoman. You know, it goes into your higher faculties, self-image, you know, all of Bob's teachings in a package, you know, so it goes through the universal laws basically. Yeah, so just an incredible program, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you said something that resonated with me. You had these blocks for 40 years. How many people are out there living with these blocks day in, day out, day in, day out? They have these desires, but their blocks are stopping them. And I know I work with a lot of clients that I help them to overcome their blocks as well, because they're not aware of them. So what tip can you give to people to overcome their blocks?
Yeah, sure. So so your blocks are your paradigms. So they're basically your subconscious programming in a nutshell, your subconscious habits, you know, and we don't know necessarily exactly where they've come from. We may know that. Sometimes they're passed on in our genes from generation to generation. Sometimes it could be a trauma or, you know, something that you've heard about yourself repeated. So the way to change a paradigm, there are two ways to change a paradigm. The first way is an emotional impact. So, you know, and that could be positive or negative. So an emotional impact is basically a shock, trauma, you know. So for example, a death in the family, a sudden death in the family, or a traumatic event. So you often see, you know, women that have, you know, experience a traumatic event as a child, or have been abused, or have been called ugly by their brother or something, you know, and it was quite traumatic for them. And as adults, you hear a lot of women, I was, you know, one of them as an adult, you know, there are no great men around, you know, or men can't commit. The men that I attract can't commit. But really what is happening is you've programmed your mind as a safety mechanism, and you think that you're cursed or you can't find the right man, soulmate, but it's really your paradigm. So two ways. So trauma or emotional impact, or repetition backed up with an elite level coach. So repeating a new message. So, you know, for example, we hear affirmations, you know, say out your affirmations, write them out, decide what you want, focus on that, repeat it. However, that needs to be backed up with a coach. The reason why, and you'd know this, Anna, the reason why is because paradigms are insidious.
Absolutely.
You know, they're very, very difficult to change. Yeah. I've got a background in counselling and psychology. I'm not a psychologist, but that's what I studied at university and became a counsellor. And I personally have not met anyone that has done it on their own. I'm sure there are people out there that have overcome their paradigms on their own, but personally, I have not met anyone because they're really insidious and deceptive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they want to keep you where you are.
Absolutely. I love that you say that. I love that you say that it's really important to have a coach. I've had multiple coaches, and I'm working with a coach at the moment as well, because you need someone who's going to back you up and support you during your transition, during your changing of your paradigms and your beliefs and your subconscious thinking. Absolutely. I love that you say that, because a lot of people think that they can read a book or read a book or attend a course, and then they think, oh no, I've got this. Well, no, you don't, because you're still having the same results over and over.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's right. And I was one of those people, you know, I studied psychology for a reason, you know, and that was to actually move past my own barriers and also help other people. And I've been a personal development junkie, but nothing helped.
I know.
Nothing helped until I discovered Bob. And you know, listening to him in the car started to change things. Working with him and actually doing the work and applying it day to day.
Absolutely.
Complete turnaround, you know, quantumly.
Which is the Thinking into Results program, is that right? That's the program you're talking about.
That's
and
right.
now you coach people to do that with that program as well.
That's right. I
Yes.
coach and help people achieve their goals and
Yeah,
dreams. Yeah.
lovely. I love
So,
that.
yeah. And it's just, yeah. And you'd be able to relate to this just when, your clients just have that click and they realize who they truly are and that they've got
Absolutely.
infinite
I
potential,
love that.
something happens. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
And then they just start opening up.
Absolutely. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
people,
Just,
sorry, people aren't aware of their own power, of their own internal power. We have, I talk
that's
a lot
right.
about universal perspective and consciousness and all of that stuff, and it's all aligned with what you teach as well. And if people only could understand that their thoughts create their realities, their thoughts create reality, thoughts create things, but then
Yeah.
how to govern or how to guide those thoughts is really, really important. So
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'd love,
absolutely.
yeah,
And we, yeah,
go.
sorry. And we haven't been taught any of this at
No,
school, So, yeah. So, and this needs to be in the education system
absolutely.
because we don't, most of us live all of our lives not knowing our potential and not knowing the power that we have
I
inside us,
love
within
that.
us, in our
Ab-
marvelous, magical minds,
Absolutely. The mind is the
you know.
machine that's the creative force within us. And I love that stuff. I
Absolutely.
revel in it. That's why you and I we connect. Or we connected,
I
I don't know,
know. That's why we
a few
clicked.
months ago. I
Yes.
think, I don't know who sent who a friend request, but I've been loving watching your journey, and you're a real inspiration. So I love that. But share with
Thank
us,
you.
what are your daily rituals?
Sure, sure. So they do change, but I get up at 5 o'clock, and look, I wake up at 5 o'clock, but I'm not out of bed. And for half an hour, I'm in bed doing visualization or meditation. So it's usually put on some music, sometimes Bob's meditations, and I visualize my goal. But the way I visualize is I don't just see a picture, I actually go there.
That's wonderful.
I don't feel like I'm in the bed. Yeah.
That's right.
So I do that most mornings. I've got my alarm set on at 5 o'clock every morning, and I say most mornings because in winter it does. It's yeah. Sometimes I get up at 5:30, even though the alarm goes off at 5. But I start my day with that. I then have a shower and I write out the Serenity script.
Mm.
So the Serenity chapter from James Allen's As a Man
Mhm.
Thinketh. Now, Bob has challenged me for 90 days to write that twice a day and send him, an email. So, and that's just incredible. And the way I've been taught by Bob to do that is not just to write it out, but to actually really meditate on the words and apply them to your life. And it's just incredible. So I do Serenity script. I do thinking into results. So I focus on a lesson in thinking into results for once a week. And then so I watch Bob, my lesson, and I do my homework. And then I get ready for clients or, some
Mm.
corporate work that I'm doing. And yeah, I get ready for my day.
And it's
So they're my musts. And as you know, and we've shared, I also carry my power of awareness wherever I go. And I've written all over it. At lunchtime, I'm reading Power of Awareness. I just keep reading the same chapter over and over again because that's how I've been taught to do it by Bob. Yeah, and in the evenings, I write out Serenity. I watch my Thinking into Result lesson again, and then I do my visualization in bed.
which chapter did you mention from the Power of Awareness?
So I'm focusing on chapter 3 and 4, I think it is. So
Yeah.
Desire, chapter 4, I think, yeah, and chapter 3 is I think Awareness. I think it is.
So we
Yeah. There
had
you
this
go.
is this is another thing we had in common. I don't know how we started talking about that, but we were actually going to jump on a call just to kind of study this together. This is Neville Goddard's Power of Awareness. It's so powerful, isn't it, Suzana?
It
We
is.
love this
It is.
material.
Very powerful, yeah. And we had the same edition, the same
I
book, which was
know, I
really,
know.
really rare. Yeah.
And so this is what I love about
So,
chatting
yes,
with you and being connected to you, because people really, it's a discipline. It's such a strong discipline to take control of your mind. And I talk about that as well, that the thoughts are like
Absolutely.
untamed horses. Deepak Chopra talks about that the mind is untamed horses. And
Absolutely.
if we don't control
Yeah,
the thoughts, you'll just end up going,
they really will.
you'll be like a
Yes. And that's why we have,
yes,
mental health issues, we have
absolutely,
violence, we're uptight,
absolutely.
we're not achieving anywhere that we want. We've got low self-esteem because, yeah, if you allow your thoughts to take over, then, often they end up in a mess.
Absolutely. And I say to my clients as well, it's really just a discipline. It's like going to the gym. We want we
Really
want
is.
a great body, but
Yeah.
then we go to the gym 2 or 3 times
Yeah.
or a couple of weeks, and then we get disappointed that there's no change and we give up. It's exactly the same with our mind, our
Yeah.
thoughts, and our
Exactly.
isn't it? We're disciplines.
Yes, it is. It is. Look, Bob's been doing his work for 58 years now. He's turning 85 tomorrow. It's Bob's
Amazing.
birthday tomorrow. He is doing the work every single day. And I'm telling you now, he is the most incredible person I have ever met. And I've met a lot of people in my
It's
life. So
wonderful.
if he's still doing the work, then I think we all need to be doing the work. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So what are your top 3 book recommendations?
So Power of Awareness would be one. Second one would probably be Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Brand.
Yes.
And of course, Think and Grow Rich
Absolutely, which is
by
by
Napoleon
Napoleon Hill,
Hill.
which is
Yeah.
what Bob Proctor read initially, didn't it? And that transformed his life because he was applying the
Yes,
principles.
yeah, that's right. So he still reads it. So he
That's
reads a
right.
part of that book every single day. He's been reading that book every day for 58
That's
years.
right.
So,
And
yeah.
look at, what he
So it
does.
goes,
Yep, his life.
absolutely. And it just goes to show what I was saying earlier about repetition and the subconscious mind, So that's why he keeps repeating his readings and really studying it until it becomes really, deep, a deep part of
Yeah, it's
him.
almost
Yeah.
till you become one with the information.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love
That's
that.
such a great way of,
You become
yeah,
one with the
yeah.
energy of the information, and then it just resonates with you, and then you live by those principles because they're one with you, basically. Yeah, I
Yes,
love
yes,
that. I
absolutely. Yeah,
love that.
yeah, that's right.
So,
Yeah.
tell us then, how can people find you? Because I'm sure you've inspired a lot of people. You're an inspiration to me every day. So I would love to be able
Oh,
to,
thank you so
because
much.
you've got the Facebook group,
That's right. Yeah.
which is
So
called,
I started,
yes,
so it's called Bob Proctor's Millionaire Roundtable, Bob Proctor's Millionaire Roundtable. So I started that group just after I came back from Toronto, because my experience with Bob, with just an intimate group of people that are going places, like these people have got, $36 million goals,
amazing.
big thinkers, massive thinkers, that actually changed my life. So it just like that, it was a quantum leap. It was just going from here to here. All of a sudden I'm with Bob and all these people, and total turnaround again, total shift. So people can find me. You're welcome to join my group. It's Bob Proctor's Millionaire Roundtable. I created that group as a result of my experience, and I want to share this information. You could also find me on my Facebook business page, Your Two Minds. So what? Your number 2 minds. So
And after,
they're probably the two easiest.
absolutely, and after the call, you can
Yes.
pop the links in the comments below, because I'm sure people would love to connect with you that have been inspired. I mean, I could talk about this all night, because
Yes, me
it's
too.
so important, isn't it, Suzana, to be around this kind of
It's so
energy.
important.
And this is what I talk to my clients about. I also say to them, when you work with a coach, the information, there's a transference of energy. Isn't that right? You agree with that as well? So
That's
when
right.
you're working with
That's
Bob
right.
one-on-one, and in that
Oh my
environment,
God.
I can just imagine the amount of energy that's transferred to you. It's incredible.
Absolutely. So you would have seen the photo of Bob and I. He's eyeballing me in my group,
I
right?
saw
So,
that.
and that moment, so that moment was I've never, Anna, experienced anything like that. Like he's got these beautiful big blue eyes and they just went straight through me. And it felt like he just took all of my organs out of my body, scrambled them up, and then put them back in. I was just like, what the hell? For about a month, I was like, what the hell happened there? You know?
I know, I saw
And I
that
had
photo.
to pick myself that it was me that this was happening to. So, so yeah, having a mentor or a coach is not important. It's absolutely critical. It's vital. If you want to grow, if you want to move past your boundaries, past the things that haven't been working for you, you need a coach, and not just any coach, a coach that is actually trained. You know, like yourself, Anna, you've spent years and years, you know, attending seminars, you know, working with Dr. Joe Dispenza, working with, you know, a range of people just to get you where you are. So you can't say there's a coach and there's a coach. Just be really careful with who you're, you know, who you're working with. And, you know, you're also someone that I definitely recommend to anyone too because of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So are there any last thoughts, because we could go on all night, but we can't do that to our audience.
We really
We'll
can,
do
can't
this
we?
again. But what thoughts would you like to leave with the audience that are maybe seeing you for the first time or that may be familiar with you? What's your biggest tips on transformation and how, I mean, you've given us a lot of information. We've talked about conscious, subconscious mind and all of the work that you've been doing with the programs and everything.
Sure.
What's a
Yeah.
last sort of comment?
So, yeah, absolutely. So, Anna, you asked me earlier, what are the things that I learnt
Yes.
from Bob? And, you know, I can go on forever about those, and I'm still learning. I won't stop learning. I'm still growing. There's so much more growth to be done. But what came to mind was one of the most profound experiences that I've had with Bob, and that was when I started out on this journey. And it really just resonated to the core of me, and I've never heard anyone say this before. And if I could share it with your followers, and I
Absolutely.
hope that, I'm not sure if I could do it the justice because Bob's just incredible, but even if you wanted to, I'd ask, you know, people that are watching this, if you wanted to close your eyes and not listen to this with your mind, but listen to it with your heart and your soul. And what he said was just, it was so profound and so powerful. And I ask you to listen to it with your heart and open it up because your mind doesn't understand this concept, and it's just too big. So he said to me, do you know, he said, you, not me, not the other person, but I'm talking about you. Do you know that without you, the whole universe would be out of alignment?
That's beautiful. That's so
Just
powerful.
think about that, like the whole universe.
Absolutely.
It's infinite. It has created all the stars, this earth, you know, all the people, nature, you know, universes and galaxies that we'll never be able to experience in this lifetime. You know, it goes on forever. And without you, Anna, without you, whoever's listening and watching this, the whole universe would be out of alignment. When he said that, something just happened, like every cell of my body was just like
magic.
Oh my God, it was just, you know, shaken up, and I can't even explain the experience, you know. And I realized, you know, Suzana, all your life you have friggin' been playing small.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
So, you know, all your followers, Anna, you know, I'm sure most of them are still playing small.
I know.
When yet without them, if we took them out, if they didn't exist, if they weren't created, the whole universe would be out of alignment.
Absolutely. That's how important, that's what I try to embed into my clients as well, the importance of who they are, the fact that they're walking on this planet, the fact that they're breathing, the fact that they are having this time space reality experience is magical. They're magnificent. A lot of my posts are as well about, do you realize how magnificent you are? And I love that. That was a beautiful
Yeah,
note
absolutely.
to end that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was wonderful, Suzana. I've loved chatting with you. We can chat all night, and I really want to do this
I
again with you
know.
another time.
Sure, any time for
There's
you,
so
Anna,
much to talk
and the
about.
feeling is mutual.
Thank
I
you.
have so much respect and
Oh,
admiration for
thank
you. So
you. That's
thank you so
beautiful.
much for allowing me to come on your
Oh,
call.
absolutely. My pleasure. So I just want to thank you, Susanna, for giving myself and the audience the pleasure of your wise words, your wisdom, and you work directly with Bob Proctor. You're answerable to him. You contact him every single day. So I'm so proud of what you've achieved, going from where you've gone to where anybody would want to be able to walk in your shoes for a day. So thank you so much for coming along. So
Oh, thank you.
I can't wait till we do this again. So if you want to connect with Suzana, she will post the links in the comments to her group and how you can find her as well. She's certainly an inspiration to many. She has a lot of followers and is doing amazing things in the world. So thank you so much, beautiful Suzana. It's been an absolute
Thank you so
pleasure.
much. Thank you. And the pleasure's mine, Anna. Thank you so much. And again, I apologize to everyone who was watching
Oh.
earlier. It was my fault. So,
Well, we both
but we got there in the end.
perseverance and persistence. And what was the serenity, that comment that you put in the messengers?
So the Serenity chapter starts with calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom.
Beautiful.
Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom.
Calmness of
So
mind.
I had that playing in my mind. Calmness.
Because it was a rough start, but we did it, and so I'm so happy that we managed. We got through it. We got on it, and you shared so much wisdom with the listeners today. So give us some hearts, guys, if you loved this video, and also share it for your viewers, because it's so important to get this information out there. People need to learn how to become empowered. People need to take their power back. People need to shift their consciousness, their awareness, and get out of the paradigms that are keeping them stuck, keeping them where they are. And Suzana can help you with that. So have an amazing night wherever you are in the world. It's what day is it? It's Thursday night for us here in Australia. People are waking up in the morning. I hope you've enjoyed this call. It's been an absolute pleasure, Suzana, and we will connect again really soon. So have a good night.
Definitely will. Thank you so much, Anna, and the pleasure was mine.
Okay, thank
Good
you.
night. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.